Properties of translated figures. All right, so we've been talking about transformations for a couple weeks now. So transformations, there's 4 of them, and I keep saying this at the beginning of each one. So hopefully it's kind of sinking in now. We have translate, which just means to move a figure left, right, up, down. We have rotate, literally what it sounds like. We're going to turn an object. We have reflect, which if I have my hands on a line that I'm pretending is here, I'm going to flip it over that line. So now I have my hands and they're backwards from each other, but they should be exactly the same. So that's how you reflect an object. And then there's also dilation. So that's the 4th one, and that's the only one where we can actually change the size or of an object. So we can make it smaller or larger, but we can't change the shape. None of them change the shape, and the only one that changes the size is dilation. So we're just going to go through and talk about the properties of a translated figure. And they're going to give us some statements on the side here. So it says, translate the figure 6 units down, then decide if each statement about the translated figure is true or false. So we're going to grab the figure and we're going to just drag it down 6 units and we're going to drop it. And then we're going to come over here and say the final side lengths are shorter than the original side lengths. Well, no, that'd be false because we didn't change it. All we did was drag it down. We haven't changed the size at all. The final angle measures are larger than the original angle. Well, again, we haven't changed anything. All we did was grab it and drag it down. So that would be a false. The original figure and the final figure are congruent. That should be true. Translated figures have not changed. They just moved. So it's this same figure, like say this pencil, and I'm just going to move it down. Well, the pencil here is the same as the pencil here. I haven't changed the pencil. I just moved it. That's all. If 2 sides are parallel in the figure, if 2 sides are parallel in the original figure, then those sides may not be parallel in the final figure. Well, again, if we change something, 2 sides start parallel in the original figure. When I move down, they better still be parallel because otherwise that means I've changed something. So really, any of these statements that mean that you changed the actual figure, you would say false. We want to say true to anything that keeps the figure exactly the same, except for we moved it. Okay? So that's exactly what they're doing here. So they show that it's been moved, and then they go through and they answer true and false on these ones. All right, so let's go ahead and do one. So it says, translate the figure 8 units up, then decide if the statements about the translated figure is true or false. So we grab this, and see how it went from a pointer finger like that, and when I clicked on it, I don't have to click and hold. I can just click it, and then it turns into this grab hand. And now I can move this around. So I'm going to drag it up, and I just want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I click again to drop it. You don't click again, it's going to keep moving. Now I can move the pointer around, and that's my final position for that figure. So I moved it. Now I need to decide. If 2 sides are parallel in the original figure, then those sides may not be parallel in the final figure. Well, we just talked about this. If they're parallel to begin with, then they better be parallel when you end. Otherwise, you change the figure. The final side lengths are the same as the original side lengths. I sure hope so. All we did was move it up. We didn't change anything else. The final angle measures are larger than the original angle measures. Well, that should be false. That means that we changed something and we didn't change anything. The original figure and the final figure may not be congruent. So be careful about reading these. It says may not. Well, they better be congruent because we didn't change anything. Again, we just took something and we moved it up. All we did. So congruent means same size and shape. All I did was move this one straight up. I didn't dilate it or change it or twist it around or do anything. All I did was move it straight up. All right, check. Yay, we got our point. All right, next. So translate the figure 7 units right, then decide if the statements are true or false. So we're going to click on it. I'm going to drag it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, drop. So I get, yep, so that's perfect. All right, so the final angle measures are the same as the original angle measures. That's true because that means that we left it alone. It's the same. The final side lengths are longer than the original. Nope, that would mean that we changed it because they shouldn't be longer. They should be the same. The final figure and the final, the original figure and the final figure may not be congruent. We just talked about this. They better still be congruent. All we did was move it. If two sides are parallel in the original figure, then those sides may not be parallel in the final figure. Be careful when you're reading this. If they start parallel, and in this case, the top and the bottom are parallel, they better be parallel if I just scooch it over, or even if I just scooted it down. I'm not changing the figure, so that's a false. Check. All right, one more. We're going to translate this figure 5 units left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then drop it. So if I click and hold and drag it, then I only have to click once. But if I click and let go, then I have to click again to drop it. So that's just one of those silly computer things. All right, so now let's decide if these are true or false. The final side lengths are the same as the original. That's true. We didn't change anything. The final angles are the same as the original. That's true. If two sides are parallel in the original figure, then those sides are parallel in the final figure. Again, that's true. All 3 of these statements are saying that we haven't changed anything. The side lengths are the same. The angles are the same. If it starts out parallel, it's going to stay parallel. And the original figure and the final figure may not be congruent. Oop, they're throwing that may not. That's false. The 2 figures have to be congruent in this case. Check. And we finished it. Yay!